Hello, Finlay.
Hey, Matt.
Hello. Superbooth is here.
It is indeed.
And
in full flow.
You have brought your new... It's still new in my eyes anyway. I mean, you showed this, I think it was Bristroniki where you first showed it, debuted it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hear it's done well. And people are liking it. And we wanted to pop around and just, Future Sound Systems, and just have a quick, what is Cric in a nutshell, and a few sound samples.
Yeah, sure thing. So, in a nutshell, it's a standalone analog synth. It's patchable through this pin matrix. You've got 32 destinations, 24 sources, so it's quite a beast of a matrix. 3 oscillators, which can be used in a standard-ish configuration, but can also lock into our recombination technique as found in the recombination engine module for Eurorack systems. We've got a state mixable filter, 18 dB per octave, with a bunch of interesting kind of non-linear things that you can feed into the audio and the resonance paths. 4 function generators that can be cycled. So it's the CFG stands for cyclical function generator.
Okay.
And also a bunch of kind of more utilitarian auxiliary things. Sample and hold, standalone VCA,
wow.
4 ins, 4 outs, mini jack outs up here, ins and outs, and then 1/4 inch balanced outputs, unbalanced inputs, a mic preamp, headphone output. So yeah,
what does it not have?
Well, this is the thing. Like I was trying to design an analog synth that really kind of did everything that. I wouldn't say I was frustrated with, but like equipment that I've used when making music myself, where I thought I just wish it had this, and you end up patching something else into it, and by that point you've kind of lost, creative flow or whatever. And so I kind of wanted to make something that would stand up as kind of being completely flexible as to whatever you might want to throw at it.
Yeah,
I've got a bit of a daft patch going on at the minute.
Let's have a listen.
It's kind of using this recombination thing, so doing some very strange things with the oscillators. I'll just set this to ARP, and then got this little joystick controller here to modulate the 2 CFGs, so as I'm wiggling the joystick around, we're just changing the decay amounts.
Oh,
and then can kind of come in and start playing around with the filter. Put this resonance folder in, which completely blows.
Resonance folder?
Yeah. So it's a Lockhart folder in the resonance path, which it doesn't necessarily do what you would expect it to do, but it just gives you this. And then the rectification of the resonance, which will make it really, really squeal. Wavefolder on the input. So that's our kind of more drier oscillator sound. We can start playing around with the kind of FM of the 2. I'm taking this scissor oscillator is switching essentially between these 2 DNA oscillators, the positive and the negative, creating quite a complex waveform. But
so it's. I think I was introduced to this idea of switching the other day. So basically, it's very fast, almost like audio rates. You're switching from one oscillator type to another.
Mm-hmm.
Those oscillators could be going through filters and stuff potentially, or they've got modulation.
Yeah, it's more that like I guess you could kind of process like either the positive or the negative through the filter and have the other end completely dry.
Yeah.
But it's mostly a way of creating very harmonically rich waveforms like you would in maybe, FM.
Yeah.
And keeping those, I guess, wave structures locked into a very defined pitch.
Yeah.
That switching does all of that for you, and so does the sync. So like, I can turn this off, and it will sound a little bit rougher. Saying that, there's so much FM going on. I don't know if you can hear all that kind of clicking.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
And then I lock it in, that clicking goes away. So we end up with these quite like, it can sound quite DX-y at times, like a Yamaha DX type of like algorithm almost. And then you can do FM between the let's say we've got the triangle wave here from the scissor coming into these two FMs. So you can get all of this kind of really intense stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you've still got that real defined sense of pitch. At the moment, we've got the scissor switch on, which is doing that, you know, very even switching between the positive and the negative when these are set at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can bring these up so these are just always on, they're not being switched. But because they're still being synced, it will still have that sense of pitch there, you know. I've got this PW skew as well, which changes the frequencies based on the pulse width here.
Wicked.
So that's very good. That's being modulated down here. So it can get really, really funky. Can turn that into an envelope.
Wicked. And they're loopable.
Yeah, loopable. So I can set that to cycle now.
Wicked. So you get even more.
Absolute nonsense, yeah. And then just bringing the FM back up.
So you mentioned about the filter was a state. What was it again?
Mixable, we call it.
State mixable. What? Yeah, what's that?
So pretty much we've got low pass, band pass, and high pass.
Yeah.
Those get mixed down, but through VCAs. So in this patch, we're actually not using the standalone VCA at all. We're just using the CFG2 slope to open and close the low pass. So if I kind of bring that up, get a bit of envelope on there. So if I move that over to now the bandpass level, we've got a bandpass filter.
Right.
And then,
right.
You know, so I could say, okay, I'm going to change, you know, I'm going to set that as the high pass envelope, but I could have CFG4 here. Let's take that into kind of a, let's do it AD. And I could set that to open the low pass. So I'm not sure if you're hearing that now. It might be a bit more obvious on the band pass maybe, but like you can essentially change the kind of, I guess, the timbre even further, you know,
very rich.
As you play a note, you know, you can go from high pass to band pass through to low pass, whatever kind of configuration you want. So yeah,
wow.
It really is like,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I say it's just VCAs.
Right,
this is the thing, but it's trying to present these things in a way where you can say, I mean, the kind of tagline I've given this was old school circuits, new school synthesis.
Right.
And this is the thing. I mean, really, this tech. Okay, we're using a lot of sound semiconductor ICs in this. A lot of monolithic like VCOs and VCAs.
Right.
But the technology hasn't really necessarily changed since the 70s. This is fully analog. There's no MIDI inside. There's nothing digital. But it is presented in a way that kind of offers these new types, I guess, of synthesis. I'm not saying that this is necessarily pioneering stuff, but it gives you the accessibility to get into this without having to, I don't know, patch like a massive modular system up to do it. It's very flexible very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's the main kind of idea. So,
absolutely. Because I mean, you've just said it's just VCAs.
Yeah.
But for me to patch that up, say in a modular, and to get all those numerous VCAs and the numerous filter types, and then somehow merge them together.
Yeah.
We've got it with convenience, and I have to say, I guess that's maybe one of the reasons you purposely went for a patch bay like this, as opposed to a pin board, as opposed to cables.
Like jack patches, because I mean, the thing with this is that having any kind of pin matrix here, you can mix and split to your heart's content. You don't need multiples everywhere. You don't need mixers everywhere. Okay, we've got global level controls and modulation depths on everything. But it does offer a far more flexible way of patching, in my opinion. It's also, for recall, it's a lot easier to just take a photograph or even do like a drawing of this. And even when you kind of learn this instrument, I realize this size of a matrix can seem a little bit daunting at first, but you spend like a week or two with it, and you can actually see from afar what the patch is doing. It's been really interesting being here on the stand and I'll talk to people in the corner of the tent and be like, okay, that synth is doing that. So it's really it's really interesting. Yeah.
Mate, thank you so much.
Matt, it's a pleasure.
It's available to order.
Yep.
And can you remind us of the price?
It's £2,499 My voice is already going. But it's available from our dealership network. So that'll be Signal Sounds, Rubber Dub, Elevator Sound in the UK. We've got Perfect Circuit, Control over in the US, Nightlife in Canada, Schneider's, Escape from Music, Synthesizers GR in Europe.
Wicked.
I'm sure there are people I've missed, and I'm really sorry. But yeah, ask your favourite dealer, and they'll be able to get it in for you.
Great, Finn.
Lovely.
Well done. You should be super happy with this, mate.
Thank you so much.
This is
I'm
a beauty.
grateful. I'm really grateful that people have received it so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.